Welcome to our new collection video, Graphics, containing 2 unique cutting and colouring techniques on 2 different lengths. Both feature tight panels of hair cut in alternate long and short sections, which are interlocked to create a diffusion with that combine natural colour with shades of blue, silver and red. The first of our shapes, which will eventually be the shorter one, is sectioned into panels as shown. An area beneath the occipital bone, an area around the crown, 2 asymmetrical triangles through the top, and 2 triangles through the sides. Start through the area beneath the occipital bone, divide the hair through the centre back, and taking a vertical section, cut a line that is shorter in the interior and longer on the outline. Subsequent sections are parallel and over-directed slightly back towards the centre. In this way, a square graduation or flat concave shape is produced. Repeat this on the second side, leaving out the area behind both ears. Now, cut a line against the skin to the desired length. As you will see later, this can be varied from short to long. Use minimal tension to avoid graduation, and use the points of the scissors to produce a softer finish in this area. Now lightly round off the corner that has been produced. Blend the previously disconnected areas behind the ears by taking diagonal sections, lifting the hair up, and allowing the hair to slide through the fingers. Gently point a line that works from short to long. Notice how the hair is over-directed back to produce greater length. Once this area has been blow-dried and ironed, refine by using a variety of pointing, slicing and thinning techniques. Now, move on to the triangular areas through the sides. Take a vertical section and, lifting the hair straight out and slightly up, cut a line that is slightly shorter through the interior, longer on the edge. Now refine this area by pointing and tighten the area around the hairline. Now repeat this procedure on the second side. Now, move on to the crown area. Assess the length required to produce a disconnection that is approximately the same length as the outline. Then, allowing the hair to slip through the fingers, cut a line that runs from short to long. Subsequent sections radiate from the crown and are over-directed slightly back to produce greater length towards the area behind the ears. Once the hair is dry, refine with pointing techniques. Now, move on to the first triangle through the top. Take vertical sections and cut the first half of each section short to long. The second half is worked on in a much looser fashion, finally producing a concave angle that trails over the shorter lengths underneath. Now move on to the second larger triangle through the top. This will contain crisscross triangular panels of hair. First, take a small triangle that encompasses the fringe and cut a line from short to long. Once again, allow the hair to slide through the fingers. Then dry and refine this section. The second section is divided and cut in the opposite manner to the first. Subsequent sections are worked through following this pattern until all of the triangular area has been cut. Then, assess and refine this area and the rest of the shape. The colour technique for this haircut consists of a series of fin-shaped sections that swirl around the head and are coloured alternately blonde and blue. These sections are randomly selected to suit the shape. The first one is placed in a curve through the long disconnected length through the back. Use Weller Blondor dust-free bleach with 6% or 20 volume oxidant. The second section sits just behind the ear and is finer at the bottom and thicker towards the top. This uses 1/4 of a tube of Weller Colliston Perfect 10/0 with half a tube of Weller Colliston Perfect 0/88 and 6% or 20 volume oxidant. The third section is a curve that runs diagonally across the fringe area and is finer at the crown and thicker at the front hairline. This area uses the Weller Blondor dust-free bleach mix. The fourth section sits just behind the previous one and is finer at the hairline and becomes thicker as it moves across the head. This uses the original 10-stroke-0 plus 0-stroke-88 combination. Next, start a new section just below the crown and colour using the bleach formula. Start with one foil through the top, then continue from the hairline where the section is thicker and eventually becomes a continuous curve. Use barrier cream to assist the foil adherence, and then colour using 10-stroke-0 and 0-stroke-88 with 6% or 20 volume oxidant. final section is just above the occipital bone and uses Weller Blonde or dust-free bleach with 6% or 20 volume oxidant. Now allowed to process according to manufacturer's instructions. And here you have the finished result, a combination of fabulous techniques in both cutting and colouring to produce this ultra-modern shape. Our second shape shows how a similar sectioning pattern can be adapted to work with much longer hair. As before, divide the head into distinct panels, though this time dispensing with those around the lower half of the head, which is dealt with as follows. Take a vertical section over the ear and, holding the hair straight out, cut a line through the hair but allow the perimeter to drop away. Note that the amount left out will vary depending on the density of hair being worked on. Take parallel sections and work in the same manner to the front hairline. Refine the front hairline using a pointing technique. Now, continue this technique around the back of the head. Refine the completed side by stroking the blades through the hair to achieve the correct density. Now, measure the hair carefully and then repeat this process for the second side. Once again, refine by pointing. Notice the precision with which the pointing and slicing techniques are used here. Now, point a very loose, square line through the perimeter. Now move on to the smaller triangle through the top. Take sections in the same manner as before and cut through the hair, once again allowing some of the perimeter hair to drop out. Continue with the same cutting line and method of sectioning throughout this triangular panel. Now move on to the larger triangle. Once again, take a small triangle that encompasses the fringe and cut a line from short to long, allowing the hair to slide through the fingers. Then, dry and refine this section by pointing a more definite edge into the hair. This fringe length can then be blended into the layering from the previously cut smaller triangle. The next section is once again divided and cut in the opposite manner to the first. Subsequent sections are worked through following this pattern until all of the triangular area has been cut. Then assess and refine this area. Now work on the triangular crown section. Working in vertical panels, cut the hair from shorter on the edge to longer on the crown, encouraging exaggerated length and texture. Now refine this area and the rest of the shape with a variety of freehand techniques. This colouring technique uses bold colour in 3 triangles through the temples and fringe areas that will form a continuous line in the finished result. These are pre-bleached using Weller Blondor dust-free bleach with 6% or 20 volume oxidant. Once these areas have processed, divide a V section through the nape and colour using Weller-Colliston Perfect 22/0 with 6% or 20 volume oxidant. Isolate this area with foil. Now tint the remainder of the hair, excluding the pre-bleached sections, with half a tube of Weller-Colliston Perfect 4/0 with 1 tube of Weller-Colliston Perfect 6/6 and 6% or 20 volume oxidant. Isolate this area with foil also. Divide the hair very carefully around the bleached sections. Bring this colour through onto the front hairlines, but use light brush strokes to avoid harsh lines. Now, take the bleached section and divide it in half. In one half, use equal quantities of Weller-Colliston Perfect 6/45 and Weller-Colliston Perfect 0/45 with 4% or 12 volume oxidant. Colour the rest of the bleach section with 1/4 of a tube of Weller-Colliston Perfect 10/0 and half a tube of Weller-Colliston Perfect 0/88 with 6% or 20 volume oxidant. Now allowed to process according to manufacturer's instructions. And here is the finished result, a great example of a strong technique on a commercial length of hair. Also included are 5 inspiring presentations that will define how the more adventurous will wear their hair for the coming season.